In this video, I'm conducting an interview with Wilson Semilio, the art director of Backgammon Galaxy. Backgammon Galaxy is an outstanding whole organization that does lots of different things, including making boards, organizing things as a platform where you can play. So lots of stuff. I'm excited to talk to Wilson about that. Thank you for joining me. I hope you enjoy this video. Please like and subscribe, and you'll be notified every time I upload a new video. And let me know what you think in the comments below, what you'd like to see in future videos so I can work on it. With the membership feature, you can get exclusive access to the most popular videos. And my book, Backgammon Strategies, is available. There's a link in the description where you can get it. And if you're interested in lessons, please contact me via email. My email address is also in the description. Again, in this video, it's my great pleasure to be conducting an interview with Wilson Semilio. Welcome.
Thank you, Alex. It's a pleasure to be here, and thank you for the invitation, basically.
My pleasure. I'm happy to have you. I appreciate you accommodating me. I know we have a good time difference, so it's evening time there.
Yes, exactly. I'm in Portugal. I'm in Algarve right now, so yeah, it's quite a substantial time difference. But yeah, we'll make it work.
Yeah, good. Happy to have you. Excited to talk a lot about backgammon. I'd like to start a little bit with some background biographical information, if I may. Tell us where you were born and raised, please.
I was born and raised in Denmark, where I grew up with my mom, and my dad is actually from Spain. He's or Catalonia rather, and they got separated when I was quite young. They're still good friends today, but yeah. So I grew up with my mom basically in Denmark, and then I've been living there for the majority of my life. Yeah.
And you went to school in Denmark?
Exactly, yeah. The whole thing, primary school, high school, and then I went to study at the Kolding School of Design, where I took a master's degree in graphic design.
Oh, very nice.
So my whole life I've been working very creatively, like ever since I was born, basically. And I think my mom influenced me a lot in that regard, or even my dad as well, because they're both like crazy hippie parents. So they've always been very creative, and so definitely an influence from my parents in that regard.
That's great. I see a lot of your artistic talent, so that's where it came from. Great. So how'd you get into backgammon?
Oh, that's a funny story, actually. When I was studying at the design school, I made a really good friend. His name is Jonas, and he's actually active also in the backgammon community. Not so much now as he was before, because he got a kid, and you know how it goes. You know, you get a kid, and then you kind of disappear, basically. From it. But you got kids, by the way, right?
I have two. What about you?
0.
Oh, that's why you look so young.
Thanks. But basically, with Jonas there, we had a tradition when we were studying at the design school. After we graduated, we shared office space together. And then we would have this tradition of going to an English pub and just drink some beer, like once a week, more or less. And then we noticed, like, every time we went there, they had these board games, like, behind the bar, like, put on a shelf, you know. And then we're like, hey, isn't that backgammon? We never really played it. We haven't tried it, any of us. But one evening we were just like, okay, let's just try it. Let's get it out of our system, because now we've been talking about it for so long. Like, we wanted to try it, but never did it. So I went up there and took it off the shelf, and we put it on the table, set it up. We had to look on our cell phones, like, to figure out how to set things up the proper way, like complete newbies. You know, we had no idea what we were doing. And then we, slowly we started playing. Okay, this is how it works. And then, after 5 minutes or so, we were both like this. We were just hooked.
I hear they have a lot of that in Denmark. Like, you'll go to a cafe or something, and they'll have board games.
Exactly. They had this Carlsberg Cup back in
Yeah,
which
I heard about it.
Like, boost the game like dramatically. So basically, from what I've heard, is that Carlsberg, they created this tournament, or like Carlsberg Cup, and then they just distributed these Carlsberg boards all over.
Oh, so those are Carlsberg boards.
Yeah, exactly. And I think they called it the Carlsberg Cup. But I think, yeah, that event kind of kickstarted backgammon, or like really made it more popular than it used to be, because of their sponsorship and all that stuff. From what I've heard, I don't know the exact story, but more or less that's how it It was.
Yeah, that was back in the 80s. I think I heard the story from Peter Yes Thompson where
Hmm.
Carlsberg sponsored a big tournament, and there were all these people. They called them the Carlsberg Club, like him and certain other people.
Yeah, yeah.
They played and they went to New
It's so
York.
cool.
Yeah, yeah.
Super old school back in the 80s.
Yeah, yeah, but
Uh,
like I was talking with him with other people on try to how to try to get sponsors to sponsor Backgammon to kind of make it bigger. I don't know. Like,
yeah.
do you have any ideas about that?
Ideas on how to do it, or
Or because I mean, like how to get sponsorships because it's like Backgammon is not very popular, so it's hard to get like a big sponsor like that.
yeah, I mean, we're obviously trying to make it popular, like at least to the same level as chess, you know. So backgammon in that regard has a lot of growth potential, which is what I love about working at Backgammon Galaxy to try and boost the game even more. It's actually a big motivational factor for me. So I think when we manage to like grow it more and more, we're going to reach a point where it's going to be more attractive for potential sponsors to get on board and be like, okay, this is actually a mind sport that's growing. You know, maybe we, I don't know, maybe we won't be able to get like the bigger companies in the beginning, but I don't know. Sort of like Red Bull, they always sponsor these crazy extreme sports.
Right, right.
And GoPro videos and all this. It would be cool to have something similar for backgammon, but it's probably a little bit further out in the future.
Yeah. I thought I'd ask you what you think it would be useful to popularize backgammon. I know you've been doing a lot, obviously, with Backgammon Galaxy and all the
Yeah,
videos, and that's really outstanding. And I think like during the COVID pandemic, unfortunately, it was terrible, and you never want that again. But I
yeah,
try to like look at some of the positive things, and one of the positive things is it kind of popularized backgammon, especially online, because people were sitting at home, and it offered them something to do at home. But what
exactly.
do you have any other ideas on how to popularize backgammon?
I think this is something we are. I don't know if I'm allowed to talk about this actually, but I think I am. But like a documentary on backgammon.
Oh yeah, yeah,
You
I've
know,
heard about these things. Yeah.
something similar because the Queen's Gambit for chess. Just
Yes.
if you look at the amount of users on chess.com before the Queen's Gambit, and then after the Queen's Gambit, they had a significant boost of
Was
users
it
on their
really?
platform. Yeah. So just having a mainstream TV series launched on a streaming service, that's a very, very good way to make anything mainstream. If you
No,
continue to push backgammon on platforms that with some content that appeals to the mainstream, that's I would say that's the best way to make it mainstream.
I saw some recent videos on Backgammon Galaxy of the World Championships the last year or two, where it was kind of like in that format. And I was recently introduced to a gentleman who goes by Nesh and does
Hmm.
that. Did you
Oh
work
yeah,
with him?
Nesh,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
he's
He has
outstanding.
Nesh Productions. Yeah, we have a close collaboration with him. He's a great guy.
Yes, yes. I'm hoping to get him in on an interview soon. He's busy right now,
Yeah,
but
you should do it. Yeah, he's usually quite busy doing all this. He's like just running around everywhere, just doing cool videos for all the backgammon community.
and that really
Um,
high quality and beautiful production. Yeah.
yeah, he did the Backgammon World Championship series. I don't know if you've watched it. We launched like 4 episodes about
Yes.
that. So that's like his work together with in collaboration with one of his editors. So
That was fantastic. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
please do an
So
interview with the guy.
yeah, yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I reach out to people, like I think I reached out to you months ago, and sometimes
Yeah,
people are doing things or whatever, and we do it at their convenience when it's available. So hopefully I'll
yeah.
do that soon. So what kinds of hobbies or interests do you have outside of backgammon, if any?
Oh, I like photography. I have an
Yeah.
Instagram where I post several photos when I have the time for it. I enjoy doing like urban photography with like a very minimalist angle. Kind of like if you're familiar with Wes Anderson,
Okay.
the
I'm
movie,
not, but
he's like a movie director, and he got
oh, okay.
famous. I'm sure you've maybe seen some of his movies, but he's famous for doing these very minimalist shots very stylized and
Oh,
with
okay.
straight angles, and everything's like organized. So he kind of they kind of coined like a term called Wes Ant. I mean, he kind of got his own aesthetic named after him. So, um, and I'm quite inspired by that when I do my photography. So I do
Yeah.
that as a hobby. I would say that's one of my main hobbies. And I like to do a lot of sports. I like to be active. Mark Olson, he got me into jiu-jitsu 2 years ago, more or less.
Oh,
Um,
really?
he was doing jiu-jitsu here in Portugal, and then I moved here. Like when I moved here 5 years ago, um, we started working together, doing the videos and stuff like that. And then he just asked me one day if I wanted to do some jiu-jitsu with him, and start in the local club
Really?
here. Yeah, and I think he was already a blue belt at the time.
Wow.
And then we just started at his house, just practicing on some tatami mats, and he was showing me all the techniques and stuff. And then I got kind of hooked, and it was kind of cool actually, but also really challenging. I remember the first month, like all my ribs got pressured to the point
Yeah.
where it was painful, like to breathe. And I was like, is it going to be like this the whole time? Then I'm not sure I'm going to continue doing it. But then I just kept doing it for over a month, and then I just experienced my whole rib cage just got stronger. It healed again.
Oh, okay.
And now I'm just recommending everyone to do jiu-jitsu. It's the most effective fitness that you can ever do. It's just going to strengthen your whole body. It's absolutely crazy.
That's great. Do you also play soccer like Mark?
I used to play soccer when I was younger, when I was studying at the design school, but that was just it was not the same level as Mark.
Not
Like
professional,
he was
yeah,
playing, no, he's playing professionally. I was just meeting up with some guys, once a week, and we'd play in a field, but
yeah.
super cozy. I generally love being very active, and yeah, just use my body, and I think that's the key to a good and healthy life.
That's good.
And
I feel like doing exercise actually helps when you're playing backgammon and when you're thinking, because it helps you think better.
exactly, it's just going to clear your mind. It releases a lot of good, what do you call it?
Endorphins.
Yeah, endorphins, and just a lot of good chemicals in your body that you can use in a good way. Like you say, to focus, to not stress. When you stress out, you make bad decisions, and that's very relevant in backgammon, I would say. You can keep your cool and just analyze the position without any distractions. I think living a healthy lifestyle is going to definitely help you in that regard. Improve your
Yeah,
game,
no,
actually. Someone should write a book about how sport can
I'm
like
sure people have written these things, and it's not just for backgammon, it's with anything.
I mean, specifically in connection to backgammon, like
Right, right.
like boost your backgammon skills by playing paddle or tennis, or I don't know.
I've spoken with some top players, like Wilcox Snellings, Dirk Sheeman, about these kinds of things. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think that's certainly true. Uh,
Mhm.
so what do you like about backgammon itself in terms of the game?
Oh, I'm a very visual person, so I would say I'm definitely very attracted to the visuals of the game.
Yeah,
So being creative, I've never really been good with numbers. Like I'm not a numbers guy.
yeah.
I'm not a logical guy. I'm very visual and very uh, looking at how things feel. So when I play backgammon, I don't count a whole lot. I just, if something feels good, I'll make the move. If it doesn't feel good, I'm probably not going to make the move. So that's kind of how I play.
Yeah, I like
uh,
I like kind of the artistic aspect of it, and like collecting different boards and things like that. I like the
exactly.
different you
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that kind of
yeah.
stuff?
I love it. And I see some of the people in the community, they just have so many different boards, and it's just like a lot of people in the community, they could literally open up a museum, of backgammon, and
I've
just like,
seen them. I've
it's
se-
crazy.
uh
How many
so
boards do you have?
so the main board that I have is the one that's pictured in my background. It's an FM Gammon Talat board, which is similar
Mm,
to the Backgammon Galaxy board. I think my favorite thing about it is that you
mm.
can easily change the inlays, just like the
Yeah,
Galaxy boards. So it's like
exactly.
having a new board. And then I have like different kinds of checkers, and it's fantastic.
Yeah.
I would say probably the biggest downside, and it's a sizable board, and it's a very strong mahogany wood, which is more dense, so it's
Mm.
heavier to carry around. But I don't really travel much. I just go to the local tournaments, but that's
Yeah, yeah.
something. But yeah, like what do you have? You have the Galaxy FM gaming boards, or
I
like
don't
what are
have
you?
as I wish I had more of our boards. I feel like I'm constantly asking Ture, who's like our shop guy.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm constantly asking him like, can you please send me this board? Can you please send me that board? Because actually, as recently as today, we were actually talking about I should have the Earth board, like the newest Earth board, because
Uh-huh.
um, we're about to shoot like a video series for our Galaxy Academy, and we
Wow.
want to always like showcase as much as we can our latest boards. So the ones that I have now is they're kind of outdated. You know, they're still really good, but we're not promoting them as much now because
Right.
they're older boards. It's the Void board
Oh yeah.
with the Quantum inlay, and I have the Void board with the Casio inlay. I mean the same board, but I can switch out the inlay and checkers.
Right.
And I really like them. And then I have the Adventure board with
Uh-huh.
a Nebula inlay, but that's more like for personal use. We don't really shoot videos on that one. So
So the Void board is the one with the black wood, right?
exactly, yeah.
And then you can change the inlay. And the Adventure one is specifically the smaller size one, right?
Yeah, exactly. Actually, give me 2 seconds. I actually have it here.
Oh, I'm excited to see it. I have these boards that I play on XG. I have all these different ones, and I can see it now in
All right. So
person.
this is the I don't know if you can see it. This is the Adventure.
Well, that's the Adventure board.
Yeah, the Nebula. I have a lot of stuff in it,
Oh,
but
wow.
yeah.
Yeah, I've seen the commercials for
Oh,
it, so it's really nice, easy to
yeah.
travel with, right?
It's even got the Hackgammon inside of
Oh, yeah, yeah.
it.
We got to talk about that. I don't think that was on my list, but we'll talk about that because I don't know a lot about it myself.
Cool.
I have um a bunch. I was mentioning when you were getting the board, that I have a lot of XG boards with
Yeah.
the FM Gammon ones. So
Yeah,
we were
yeah.
gonna let me share some of that so we could see. Uh,
Cool.
here's here's one.
I love these boards that Rain is designing.
Yes, so I have a lot of these boards. These XG boards are made by Rain. I love promoting his boards. It doesn't make it's not a huge business for him, I don't think, but he does a great job. This
Yeah,
is the Monte Carlo board. The exterior
yeah,
is the Monte Carlo, and this is the traditional Monte Carlo inlay with the black and white checkers. Were you involved in designing these?
100%. Yeah,
Okay, so tell us about it.
it's basically we wanted to. What year was it? I think it was 2021 or some. Could be 2021. But I just remember we were talking
22,
about.
because 24 was the Paul McGreal, the one before was the Aurora or Casio, 23, and the 22 was the Monte Carlo.
You see, I'm not
Something
good with
like
numbers, but I remember that we were talking about we really wanted to make like a pay tribute to this James Bond board that we saw.
Yes,
This classical still shot from the movie where they're playing
right.
on a board. So we basically took those colors, and I was trying to really get this retro or like vintage feel by putting a little bit of yellow into the whites. Like sort of like
Ivory,
kind of like nicotine. Like if someone's been smoking a lot in the same
right.
room as the board, it'll kind of get this tint.
Yeah,
So we're trying to go for that feel. Yeah, basically just it's a very classic
yeah,
backgammon color combination, I would say, and that just speaks to the nostalgia of the game, at least for
yeah.
us.
Let me show some of the other ones that I have here. This is the Paul McGreal board, and I can change the checkers too to the
To the original.
yeah. These are the checkers.
Yeah. This was actually a fun project because I have McGrill's book, the Bible. I think I bought it on eBay years ago, and then one day I was just looking at the cover and I was like, wow, this could be a great color combination for a board. And then I just kind of color picked I took a photo of the cover and put it into
Right.
Illustrator, and I color picked the colors, and I was to check if it would actually work for a digital board for the app. And then I showed it to the other guys, and they were just like, wow, we need to make this as a real board. And then when we started to do the whole process of matching the colors and trying to get them as close as possible, which is actually a huge project. It's so difficult to get the colors right, like when you're trying to communicate with people in the other end of the world. So
Yeah, let me show this other one here. This one I liked a lot. I'll tell you, it's I liked it a lot in the recent World Championships because I feel like the colors contrast very well, and that makes it really easy to see on stream. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's what I think makes a good board, like you say, the contrast values.
Right, for the stream. This is the Earth board. This is the traditional one. Yeah.
This one became like an instant classic when we launched it. It's been selling really well ever since we launched it. So that has a lot of already now nostalgic value to me. You know, this is one of the boards when I like 10, 20 years in the future, when I look back, I'm going to shed a tear when I'm thinking about the Earth board.
We'll look at some of the other inlays. So
I don't even have it. I don't even own it. So
but you could change. I like how you can change. This is the Jupiter inlay. Little bright for my eyes, but the moon inlay, this is gray. This is really nice and classic. I like this because you can put any checker colors.
Yeah,
and it works. And this one, the nebula, I like. It's kind of like a purple, but not too bright on the eyes.
The nebula is very popular with the ladies. They're always like, "Oh my God, that's so cool."
I know, I like it. And the Neptune one, this is the one you see a lot when playing on the app, right?
Yeah, that's the default. Basically, the first color that we had on the app. Until we decided to do more variations.
Where is the other one? Oh, here we go. The Casio. So this was a newer one. And you could change the checkers too. And then I just wanted to show the Aurora one. This one has nice colors.
Yeah. The Casio board was used for the UBC 2023 final. So the last final.
Yeah.
When Mochi and Sandra, they were playing in Copenhagen.
Oh yeah. I did an interview with Mochi shortly after that. So we talked about that. So let me close this.
So quite a collection you have there of
I have a lot. I have a lot. I really enjoy it. I collaborate with Rain a lot. Tell us about right now you're the Backgammon Galaxy art director. Tell us about like how you started with that.
Basically started like I think back in 2017 when I was living in Copenhagen. That was around the time that I had also developed the Take Point scoreboard.
Yes.
I think the second version of it. But anyways, Mark, he was in Copenhagen at the time, and he was kind of on the lookout for a graphic designer for the Backgammon project, Backgammon Galaxy project, and it hadn't started yet. It was just still on an idea level that he wanted to create a website where you could play backgammon, basically. Right. And then he kind of noticed me because he was looking for people who also liked to play backgammon, to be a part of the team.
Right.
And I was just the perfect combination. You know, I was a graphic designer, and I was playing backgammon in the clubs at the time in Copenhagen. And so he kind of just reached out to me and he was like, "Hey, do you want to grab a beer someday and talk about this project that I had in mind?" And then I was like, "Sure, why not?" And then he just explained to me that, "Hey, I want to do this website, you know, because I don't really feel there are any good websites where you can play backgammon online, you know. So I want to be the one who creates that, and then you know, to help backgammon grow as a game worldwide. And I need a graphic designer. Do you want to jump on board? You know, and I just thought about it for a little while, and then at the time I was only doing like half time. I was working part time for a Danish company, doing like illustrations, like 30 illustrations a month. So I wasn't really tied up to any full-time position. So yeah, I jumped on board, and then I remember I went to Malaga, where he had an office doing sports betting and stuff like that. And that's basically where we started out, like sketching out all the initial designs. If you can remember version 1 of Backgammon Galaxy, where we had this lobby. Some people are still like, bring back version 1. It was so good. But but now we're working on version 3, which will actually be really, really good. So we're always pushing it forward. But basically, that's how it started back in 2017. And then I went to Malaga to work at their office for a month, I think, or maybe 2 months. And then I went back to Denmark, and I was also living in Bali for a while, where I just brought my laptop, and so always working on the Galaxy project part time. It was only until recently that when I moved here to Portugal that I actually started working full time, and just committing to it 100%.
That's great. That's great. So what are your, I mean, the Backgammon Galaxy team is outstanding. I mean, Mark is a great person, obviously an outstanding player.
He's amazing. He's the best person ever. Like,
yeah. I've spoken with him multiple times, and it's just a pleasure to be able to work with someone like that. So what are your specific responsibilities as the art director for Backgammon Galaxy?
I basically to make sure that all the visuals look good, based on my own personal preferences. I have a very I have a passion for like minimalist design, and design that is not too detailed. I'm very inspired by Apple in that regard. I like the simple approach to design, which allows the user to focus on the information that matters. And I especially like that when it comes to backgammon, because you want to focus on the game, you want to focus on the checkers, you don't want to be distracted by all kinds of unnecessary things. So this is my constant goal, to try and incorporate minimalism into the game, to allow the player to focus on what matters. So it also sets us apart from virtually all the competition, because any other backgammon app that you see, they have a tendency to try and make it look as real as possible, with like super detailed real textures and all these things. But I chose to take like a different approach, which also made development of the app a lot easier, because we have these basic shapes and basic colors that we're just using all the time, and then I don't have to sit there and make textures and all these things. That's going to take a long time.
Right. One of the things that I've learned by watching, especially like streaming backgammon, as compared to playing in person, is the view of the board is different. Like when you're playing in person, you could see those intricate designs, but when you're watching out a screen, sometimes it's like makes it hard on the eyes.
Exactly. And even when you look at checkers, we've been talking so much about it internally. I mean, if only people knew the kinds of conversations that we have behind the scenes when we're developing product is like insane. We talk about it so much, but just focusing on checkers, for example, we had this player come to us, and he told us he was actually distracted by the swirls.
Yeah,
we call it swirls,
right,
that are on some of the checkers. And that just kickstarted a whole debate, like internally, should we have swirls on our checkers, should we not? Like, so that's just one example of the level of detail that we go into when we design the products, because of course our goal is always to have a board that is not distracting players. So we take it very seriously when people come to us and say that they're distracted by something.
Yeah. So I wanted to take a look at the online website so we could see some of the things.
Yeah.
Let me pull this up. Okay, so this is the website. So I know
that's the web shop. Yeah.
Let me have you navigate me. Where would you like to go to show off things? This is beautiful.
Basically just the header. Actually, this is something we recently made, like this slideshow. So it's basically cycling between some of the products that we have.
So this is
the classic timeless classic Monte Carlo board, and if you navigate to backgammon boards in the top menu,
boards,
and then go to the let's see, travel boards. And then Adventure Plus boards.
Okay.
This is one of our newest additions, the Adventure Plus board. It's
Mhm.
basically what differentiates this one from the Adventure board is that on the Adventure Plus, you have the trays incorporated in the frame. And on the Adventure board, you don't, we took the trays out and basically put the trays like inside a container inside the board. So that's the main difference between the Adventure and the Adventure Plus.
So this is a little bigger then, right?
Yeah, it's a little bigger, but it's still a small board, you know. And we decided to make this one because we had so many users. They told us how we just love the form factor on the Adventure board. Like we love this smaller version of your big boards, but we would love to see like this small board, but with the incorporated trays. So what you have with the Adventure Plus is like the small board, but with the tray built in. And it's just, I mean, I really wish, this is one of the boards that I wish I had, that I get for this Christmas, because, you know, I love the Adventure board, but with the trays in it, it's just, I think it's an upgrade for sure. If you don't mind the extra added
right
width of the board. It's small and sexy, and especially the one with the X22 inlay. Oh,
yeah,
man,
that one.
I love that one.
Let's see how it compares with the traditional adventure board. So this is the traditional adventure boards. Maybe we'll look at this one.
This is amazing to bring on to a cafe or to the beach. I took the one I showed you here, like this one here.
Yes.
The form factor, it just, you can bring it anywhere. And
that's the size, right?
I've brought this to the beach so many times, and every time I get home, I have to vacuum all the sand out of it.
Right.
You know?
You have to do that. This one does not have the mag fit technology in it, does it?
No. We decided to keep it simple for these smaller boards.
Yeah, the reason I ask is because, like with mine, I just take it out and I have like a lint roller that I roll on it, so it just cleans it really easily.
That's a good idea, actually. I think I'll try and do that on my bigger ones.
And what I found is, like on these, you get like large tape, and you put the tape on the surface and then lift it up, and it gets a lot of the stuff. But this one's very compact. You can carry it around. These checkers are a little bit smaller, right? These are like 1.5 inch checkers.
Yeah, they're smaller, and I think they're also a little bit thicker.
Oh, okay.
If I'm not mistaken.
And these have the swirl pattern that you were talking about.
Yeah. They have I think they have a really nice feel to them, actually.
Do they? I've never felt them, but it looks really nice.
The ones you have there on the Quantum board, they have kind of like this matte finish. And the ones that I have here on my Nebula inlay, they're like finger dish checkers, and they're like a little bit glossy. But personally, if you ask me, I always try to push the matte checkers, like with the matte finish. That's just my personal preference, because I think it gives a more coherent look to the board. I'm not the biggest fan of glossy checkers, to be honest.
I think this one was the one they used at the 23 World Championships, right? Last year, not this year, last year.
Yes.
One of the things that I noticed, and a lot of people notice, is like I see it on this, and in still photographs, it's really beautiful. But for some reason, I think with the lighting or something, it was a little bit hard on the eyes on the stream, and that's what I was referring to before. It's
exactly.
Like some boards are really good to play on in person, and others on the stream. What else?
That's true. That's true.
Yeah. What do you want to see on the website? Anything else?
If you go into accessories and then scoreboard on the bottom there. That's another new addition to the web shop, heavily inspired by the Take Point scoreboard, where the rings are actually going to stay upright.
So tell us a little bit while we're talking about this. You designed the previous Take Point scoreboards. Tell us about that, and tell us about how you got into this, please.
Like what inspired me to do to make a scoreboard.
Yeah.
So basically, when I started playing in Copenhagen, when I joined a club with my good friend Jonas, he moved to Copenhagen first, and then I moved to Copenhagen shortly after, and then we just decided to why not start playing in a backgammon club in Copenhagen. So we joined the same club. And that's when I started to see people's accessories, you know, what all these backgammon nerds were bringing to the table. And I saw a lot of different scoreboards, but what they all had in common was like they looked like something that they looked kind of homemade. Like made from different things that you can buy in at Staples or Home Depot or something. I don't know. And then I was like, come on! I mean, you have all these beautiful, expensive boards, and then you choose to use a scoreboard that looks like it's homemade. So me as a designer, I couldn't. I mean, it was triggering my OCD. I just had to do something about it. So because I already had in my mind, like, wow, this could be so elegant. You know, you could have this beautiful scoreboard and a beautiful backgammon board. So that's basically how it started. You know, I got heavily triggered by these ugly scoreboards. So I started doing a lot of different sketches, and the first thing I wanted to address was specifically the rings that were holding the cards. And I wanted to really avoid having all these spirals. I didn't want to use a spiral because they have it's like unnecessary, if you ask me. I wanted to do something very minimalist and only have the most necessary items visually on the scoreboard. So that means 2 rings for each card, basically.
Right.
And that presented a very, very big challenge, because how do you keep these rings from not tipping over? You know, so I actually spent more than a year developing a unique solution, which enabled me to have 2 rings as one module. And then that would be like inserted into the back plates in a special way. It's difficult for me to explain, but it's basically I cracked the code, and I managed to do these rings in a way that worked.
Good.
Yeah.
And now this one is the Galaxy version of it.
Yeah, that's the Galaxy version. Still inspired by the Take Point, I think with the same font even. But obviously we're using different materials, and or at least for the base plate, we have more or less the same material, like the PVC cards for the score and the match length and all that. And then the rings are actually quite cool. The concept that you can actually see it here. You have the flat rings, and that means that they will not tip over.
Yeah.
Because they're flat and they go into these equally flat holes. So that's also a good solution to that. The Take Point is has a little bit more sturdy rings, I would say.
Yeah.
But it's not a deal breaker at all.
This one looks compact and foldable pretty easily, right?
Yeah. I still haven't gotten my hands on because it's so new. We just we launched this not too long ago, so I still haven't gotten a hands-on experience from the factory. But
I'm not sure myself, but these rings look smaller than those on the Take Point ones.
I think the dimensions are a bit smaller. Yeah. And these are completely round as opposed to the Take Point ones, which I gave. That was it was quite of an engineering project, because there's a reason why the Take Point rings are shaped the way they are, so that the cards could kind of
stand.
It's very technical. I don't know how to explain it, but just the way the cards will sit on the edges,
right?
Instead of being skewed, like if you have a stack of cards, they would be skewed a little bit because there's curvature in the ring. But the way the Take Point is made is that the metal pieces, they're kind of straight, and that means the stack of cards will just have they will lay there like with a straight top and bottom. That's a long.
Good. This is very nice, and now it's available here.
Yes.
What else? Was there anything else you want to see in the accessories?
Hackgammon, maybe.
Where is that?
That's
here. Here it is. Yeah. Okay, there you go. So tell me about this, because I saw this recently, and I'm not familiar with it too much. So tell us for our guests, please.
Oh, this has been a project that I've been working on for many, many years. I started it, and then I put it on hold, and because I had a lot of other stuff to do. So it's kind of something I've been working on and off. So one of these like cozy projects that, I knew I wanted to make it a reality one day. But then a lot of different things came up and I had to do that instead. But so recently I talked to Tue, the shop guy, and I asked him, okay, wouldn't it be cool if we actually launched Hackgammon on the web shop? And he agreed with me. And then I did everything I could to kind of do the last polishing and the last game testing before we launched it. And then we launched it, I think, a couple of months ago, if I'm not mistaken. And it's been a crazy development. I remember the first prototype, I had a lot of cards that were just too overpowering. So when you were playing the game and you got one specific card, you were just sure to win the game. Um, but it's so much fun to do game development because it's a whole new world. There's so many things that you don't think about or take into consideration when you see a game. It's got a lot of different dynamics. You know, you have to make sure that everything is balanced. You don't want it, and you want to create as much excitement as you can, and you want to create as many situations when you're playing the game. You want to create fun situations or the potential for a lot of fun situations to arise. And I think the current version of Hackgammon does exactly that. You know, you can get into some crazy, weird situations that you cannot do in regular backgammon. You know, and that's the concept. And that's the concept of Hackgammon, that you set up the board to play regular backgammon, but then you play it with these cards, and each card will allow you to break the rules and hack the rules of backgammon. So it's a very, very cool thing for everyone who wants to try a fun variation of backgammon.
And how long has this been available now? Is this new?
It's fairly new, actually. I would say a couple of months, maybe. Yeah.
So what's been the feedback thus far?
I've gotten a lot of great feedback, and funny story, like I'm emailing back and forth right now with a guy called Garrett.
Yes.
What's his last name? I think Garrett Thomas.
Okay.
Yeah, Garrett Thomas, and he's been, or maybe he still is, but you know the magician David Blaine.
Yes.
Garrett is or has been David Blaine's like advisor or like coach or something along those lines. And he just sent me out of nowhere. He just sent me a long email with feedback to Hackgammon. He told me he bought the game and he really likes it, but he also has a ton of feedback for it. And then I said, yeah, sure. Give me all the feedback you have. And then the next email he sent me was like, I mean, and he's a magician himself, you know, and he's been,
really?
And he told me he has ADHD or OCD. So the combination of having OCD, which I also maybe have a little bit, together with being a magician, it's just the perfect combination for giving feedback for this game, because everything he told me just makes sense, you know. So I can launch a version 3 of Hackgammon with so many nice improvements. I mean, this version is still playable and super fun, but he gave me so much good feedback that I have to go back to my drawing table, and I have to. It's almost a completely new game. It's crazy.
That's fantastic.
So I got a lot of good feedback from a lot of different people.
What else? You want to look at some of the merchandise? I feel like that's pretty popular.
That's how we started out, actually, on the web shop, just by doing T-shirts.
I think these avatar T-shirts are really cool.
Exactly. Those were the first products that we had on the shop, I think.
I want to make my own T-shirt with my avatar.
Do it. And if you click on one of the T-shirts, I can tell you a little bit about the logo.
Yeah.
Because
what is the popular one?
This is one of the things I have to change at some point. You know. So if you zoom in on the Backgammon Galaxy logo, you can see that this is the old Backgammon Galaxy logo.
Is it?
It's not our newest one.
Okay.
If you go to backgammongalaxy.com, you can see the new logo, and also on the top left corner here. So basically, this is one of my jobs as the art director. I have to, at some point when I have the time, I want to go back to all these T-shirts and update the logo on the T-shirts. But that's
I want to make a shirt like this with my picture on it, but I couldn't figure out how to make your picture look like this.
I mean, I don't think you have an
no, I don't have an avatar, but like there are these AI things that you can use to make these, right?
Yes, but not on our web shop. You can't get
not on your web shop. I was just trying to find one online. I couldn't find one.
Okay, yeah. I think there are different services you could use.
Yeah.
Or you could hire me to make one.
I'll do that. I'll do that.
It's only $500 per avatar. So
wow. Let me see. What else do we have? What's the most popular one?
I think it's the original one, the astronaut. I think it might be on page 2. Yeah.
Like one of these. This one.
Yes, yes. This is we call him a space guy. This is basically the mascot of Backgammon Galaxy.
Yes.
Um, I animated some of our videos. I used Space Guy for some of the animated videos that are explaining the rules of backgammon. You can see an animated version of Space Guy talking with this like Texan accent.
That's funny.
Um,
And I
yeah,
see
and then we just developed a lot of different avatars as well, and we give all the VIP players, they get their own avatars, like Steniak here, for example.
Yeah.
He's got his own avatar when he's playing on Galaxy.
Yeah.
And Mark, of course, as well. So we have all these. I think we have around 30 or 40 different VIP avatars.
Yeah, I've seen them.
And this is Ramesh on the top right, the Indian guy.
This guy? Was this the guy that he was funny? He was telling jokes with Mark one time, or was that? Is that?
Yeah, at one of the World Championships in Monte Carlo. That's when he was kind of invented. Like we were doing late night commentary, and Mark and I were talking about, oh, hey, wouldn't it be funny just to joke around a little bit with people, and to then pretend that Mark had like special guests in there that were just fictitious. And I do voices, sometimes. So, I did all these different characters, and Ramesh Balakrishnan was one of them. And Mark, it was just the funniest situation. Mark, he was just cracking up. And at one point, he was like under the table. He was almost on the floor because he couldn't breathe. Because I was doing this Indian guy, like, it was so much fun. And we also did like a Dutch guy, like Tom van de Kaas, and he was talking about doing a pip count tournament. And who else? And there was also a Japanese guy, and there was a Norwegian guy called Bosse the Bus Bellman or something like that. So basically, yeah. So there's a lot of stories behind a lot of these T-shirts.
Yeah. That's great. It sounds like a lot of fun. You do outstanding work. It's just really beautiful. Looks like we kind of went through everything on the online store, right?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So let me stop this. Yeah, that's.
I mean, I could talk for days.
Yeah. It's really been a pleasure to have you. I learned a lot about what you've been doing, the Backgammon Galaxy, all your beautiful work. What else?
Thank you so much.
Any other things that you wanted to discuss before we conclude?
No, I mean, I just continue to do what I can with the team to push Backgammon forward. That's our goal, to grow the game, because we all feel that it deserves more recognition than it has. And we feel now that we're on the right path, because more and more people are getting on board board Backgammon. So we're happy to see that. So we're just going to keep going. Running the tournaments, improving the app, putting new exciting products on the web shop, and we believe that's the way forward.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
For Backgammon.
Yeah, absolutely. I think what you've been doing is actually really important, because a lot of people that don't know how to play, they don't know the rules. But when you make these beautiful designs with the colors, that's just, people just notice and they say, oh, wow, that looks nice. What is it? So it brings, people become interested in that.
Thanks a lot. That's my whole that's my whole reason for doing this. I want to get people to react that way. That's my dream.
Good. Yeah, you're doing an outstanding job. Keep up the good work. I appreciate everything you do. And I'd love to have you back on another video. Maybe we can play a game on one of the Backgammon Galaxy boards.
That would be a great pleasure.
What's your favorite one to play on? I mean,
I would say now is probably the X22.
Yeah,
I really like the contrast on that one. So that'd be cool. But still, one of my other favorites is also the Quantum. And I'm a little bit divided between the Quantum or the Casio. I think the Casio is actually my second favorite. Yeah.
You saw all the ones I do. Originally, Backgammon Galaxy has this Paul McGreal one. Before that, another manufacturer, Gammoner, made a Paul McGreal one, and I have that one too. It's really nice. It's just like gray, black, and white,
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I was using that for the Grandmaster series on my channel as a tribute to Paul McGreal.
Mhm. Perfect.
And more recently, now that this one came out, I've been using this one, and people really like it.
Amazing.
So
And I want to say keep doing what you're doing, all these interviews with some of the key players in the community, and even all the regular Joes, maybe, it's just everything that you can put out there that's interesting for people to see, people who are just curious about backgammon. If they, when they come across your videos and they see you talking to people that are in the community, that's a big help too, to get more people engaged.
yeah.
Good job.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to do that. I enjoy mixing it up. Obviously, I like playing. I've been playing since I was little. So like there are a lot of videos where I play, but people like these types of videos too. And it's just like someone asked me one time, what kind of video do you enjoy the most? And I said, I don't know. I like all of them.
Fair enough.
Because
Fair
it's
enough.
like obviously you enjoy playing, but like meeting people like you and like how you make these boards, it like reminds me of like when I did an interview with Rain himself. He showed
Yeah,
me all these boards, and it's like a kid in a candy store looking at all the boards and things like that.
exactly. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Well, great, great. It's such a pleasure to have you. Anyone from Backgammon Galaxy is always welcome. I've had Mark multiple times, and hopefully we'll be
Cool.
able to play a match. We'll go ahead and conclude the video. Thank you very much to
Thank you,
my
Alex.
friend Wilson Semilio from Backgammon Galaxy. Thank you to the guests, for the viewers who are watching. I appreciate that. Please like and subscribe, and you'll be notified every time I upload a new video. Let me know what you think in the comments below, what you'd like to see in future videos, so I can work on that. With the membership feature, you can get exclusive access to the most popular videos. Again, my book, Backgammon Strategies, is available. There's a link in the description to where you can get it. And if you're interested in lessons, please contact me via email. My email address is also in the description. I'll also put the links to the Backgammon Galaxy online shop and other relevant links in the description. I look forward to seeing everyone in future videos. Until then, keep rolling your dice.